with Intention podcast where we bring you stories from around the globe. Hello and welcome to Rise and Thrive Mornings with Intention. And today I have a beautiful guest with me here, Helena Georgiou from Cyprus. Welcome. So nice to have you here.
Hi, Eva. Such a lovely opportunity to be here and share my story with you on this Rise and Shine podcast this morning. And yes, we're having summer here in Cyprus, and all is great.
That's wonderful. So glad to hear that, and welcome once again. Please tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll jump right into some questions I have for you.
Yeah, sure. I was born in Durban, South Africa, and in 1998, I immigrated with my husband and 8-month-old son here to Cyprus for a safer life, a more peaceful life. We had a business in South Africa, and at the time in the 90s, with the change of the government, we went through a lot of bad experiences like armed robberies and shootings and hijackings. And after surviving them, we decided we wanted a better future, of course, not only for ourselves, but for our children. And yeah, we came here. Of course, the first 5 years was a big change going from a country to an island, but it's the best thing we could ever have done now, 27 years later already. Time flies.
Yeah.
We are really very happy, and we see how our lives have unfolded and how it was definitely the best decision for us to have come here. I've met amazing people from all over the world, and I love my life. Feeling very blessed and grateful.
That's so wonderful to hear. Did you have to learn a different language? It might be a silly question, but for those who don't know.
Yes, of course. Of course, I had to learn the Greek language, which was spoken here. So I learned it with my children while they went through school. And in South Africa, our first language was English, and our second language, Dutch Afrikaans. So it's my third language now.
Wow.
And I'm glad I did, because it's always more useful, especially if you're living permanently in another country. Many benefits. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Now, Helena, you've been part of a best-selling collaboration book last year, Breaking the Silence. Do you have the book with you?
Yes, I have it here, everybody. Woohoo,
Wow, that's
breaking the
awesome.
silence.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And
So
I
break
am here.
I love that. I saw that. I was like, wow, how creative. Some people can get so creative with the designs and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah. So it's called Breaking the Silence, Voices of Survivors. What
Yeah.
inspired you to share your story in that book?
Well, the opportunity came, and I had been thinking for a while to do some writing, but I didn't know how it was going to unfold exactly. But the story of my life, sharing the brave heart that I believe we all have been through some kind of trauma, difficulty, challenges, grief, sadness, depression, maybe even addictions in our lives. And I believe that there's a higher power, a deeper calling within us that helps us to overcome these things. And when we're ready, we are guided to use it in a positive way. And this is what I felt. I was being called to do this. I always loved writing, journaling, writing many, many years. I feel that's one of my healing tools. It really helped me along my path. And it's basically my story of how I overcame the victim and changed my life so that I could be victorious. I was brought up in a home with a younger brother, two years younger than me, who was very sickly. So he was mostly cared for by my mom, and then I was raised by my father when he would come home, because my mom was ill and she needed to be there for my brother. And growing up, I was always very fearful of men and always kept away from them. And I always wondered why at school with boyfriends too. And you know how it is when you're young, boys writing letters and things like that. And I always felt shy and very lacked confidence. And I only discovered why in my midlife when I had a serious neck injury and woke up one day. I couldn't move my neck. It was totally stiff. And I realized as a holistic practitioner for many years that there was something deeper going on. I know that the cells hold all the memories throughout our lives. Excuse me. Speaking my truth, this happens. So bear with me. Thank you. And I discovered in my mid 40s, after doing therapies and different kinds of modalities, healing modalities, I embarked on yoga and breathing techniques, and of course, journaling and everything that I could imagine. Did physiotherapy to heal the physical part, but the emotional layers started coming out, and psychotherapy I began, and that's what I found really helped me, because we need to speak. Maybe we don't always know what we need to say or what's coming up, but the body shows us. The body speaks through our breath and our nervous system, and we have signs. And it eventually came out after a few years of doing monthly sessions and really working on myself. I was ready. My kids had matriculated, they had finished school, they had finished their studies and graduated. So for the first time in my life, I had time for myself. And I committed fully to this experience of whatever was coming up, that I was ready to face it, to deal with it in a compassionate way towards myself. I had to be patient, as with anything in our lives. We have the roller coaster ride, what I call, where we have the ups and downs and the round and rounds and the spiraling down. And I got through this eventually, and it came out that I had been abused by my father since child. So I had to work through this deep trauma, and it wasn't easy. It was a shock, but my body, I could see, was releasing in many ways. I used to suffer with serious tonsillitis. I couldn't speak regularly. I was biting my nails until they bled, and I had all these signs, but I never knew why and what was going on. But afterwards, I worked through each one individually, and I was able to overcome all these different aspects, because with COVID, I had the opportunity to even speak and be interviewed on a women's network on domestic violence and sexual abuse. And it got really out there that over 300% of people had been abused, especially during the COVID period, and were coming out to talk about these experiences, needing support, needing to be heard. And this is what inspired me to start sharing and coming from the wisdom, not from the wound. It's very liberating when you can do that, and when you get to that space of understanding, of forgiveness especially. It takes you on a deep road, and through that forgiveness, you're able to actually face your abuser or face the person that caused you the harm or the sadness or grief, and actually eventually look through them through the eyes of compassion and understand that that's their journey. You can forgive them for your own sake, not for what they did, for your own liberation and peace and tranquility, so that you can move on with your life, so that you can thrive and have the joyful life, the happy relationships, the financial abundance that we are all worthy and deserving of. And the most difficult part, I would say, was coming back to that self-love and remembering who I am, who I've always been, and that I am worthy just by being alive. And to know that not everybody is the same, that there are beautiful souls in this world. And some people are just messed up and never chose to do anything about it on their path or aren't ready. That's their choice. But I'm ready, and I feel this calling to share it. And this is what my book is about, my chapter, Braveheart, is to know that even through all that pain and all that difficulty, that hardship, that anguish, releasing the rage and the abandonment, all those emotions, it comes to a place, this peaceful place within me of deep peace, where I have found myself, I've remembered who I am, and I'm offering this now to others to understand that yes, things might seem bleak and dark and disappointing, depression, suicide. I've been through all that. Um, we can get through it together. And not everyone's ready to speak or go public. That's okay. I started by writing and sharing little bits in magazines. And then it came to this opportunity to do this chapter in this book, which was so amazing. The support of the people. And this book is not only about physical abuse, sexual abuse, it's about all kinds of survival stories, which many of us have been through. Fires, through the 9/11, through car crashes, through loved ones passing, all kinds of things. And it's a book of inspiration, showing people how they can overcome any adversity. When you're ready, when you speak to someone, when you share your pain, when you're vulnerable, that's where the magic lies. Because I honestly believe with all my being that in every challenge and difficulty, there's always a blessing that comes out of it. There's always some gift that we're receiving, some deeper understanding towards ourselves, towards others, towards the world. And we can use that to not only help ourselves, but also to inspire others. And this is what Brave Heart's about. It's about breaking the chains that bind us, breaking the violence, breaking the silence, so that you can be set free and find that liberation.
Wow, definitely powerful what you just said. And it's such a, strong title. Like it's so powerful, breaking the silence.
Yeah.
For survivors who are still in silence, what do you want them to know about the power of sharing the truth? I know you've shared it a little bit, but like if you were to sum it up a little bit.
Yeah, the power of sharing the truth. Well, I have recently just come over an amazing research, and they have said that the power of truth and authenticity, when you're able to step into the truth of who you are, when you give yourself that chance, that permission, and you dedicate yourself to it on a daily basis, as best as we can, being humans, we're not perfect, no perfection at all. Um, it's actually a high frequency, and they've rated it now, scientific research, that it's actually higher than the power of love, because you connect it to your heart space. And the heart space is love, yes, but this is even more because you're expressing it, you're living it, all that you are, you're accepting yourself for who you are, fully, totally, and completely. And you're offering that space, that light, that energy to others by just being vulnerable. And that is the power of breaking that silence, is that you are removing all those layers, all those chains, all that baggage that was not yours, that you happen to be a victim of that situation at that time, unfortunately, part of your soul path, your journey, your purpose. But out of that, you find this inner strength, this inner compassion through the loving journey, through the authenticity and the truth of being who you are. And you hold that light and space for others. And by sharing it even once, you're giving hope to them as well, to realize, wow, well, she did it. There's hope for me. I don't have to continue my addiction. I don't have to continue having suicidal thoughts. I don't have to continue feeling lonely. That I can find support, that there's somewhere out there, someone, there's many groups, and I'm calling out to those who are looking for support, looking for someone to listen, to reach out, to no longer feel alone, to no longer feel that you've been discarded and abandoned, because I know those feelings. I know what that's like, and it can be very harmful and destructive. But
Definitely.
when you can give yourself that permission in some way, even if it's just a friend you share it with, it doesn't have to go public. It's not meant for everyone, but a problem shared is a problem halved, you know? And alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much, as Helen Steiner writes. And that's been my motto, is I've seen as I walked upon this path of uncertainty, not knowing where it's leading me, just trusting grace to unfold before me, that the people come along. You are always supported by the universe, and you are guided when you are ready at your own pace. There's no fast forward, there's no quick fix with the healing process, with the transformational process. I want to make that very clear. This has taken me almost, I would say, almost a decade, because I've done it very slowly. I've been very gentle. And of course, as you peel one layer, another layer comes up. And I've given myself that time to process it my way. Our techniques are different. People are in different places. We got to just work with what we have in the best way we can, and know that you needn't be alone. So I'm offering to whoever's out there listening, if you need support, reach out to me, please. Send me a direct message or connect on my website, www.helenabraveheart.com. And I'm happy to give you a 20-minute connection call and just listen. You just speak and I just listen and hold that space for you to share whatever you need to share. And we take it from there. You're not alone. I'm here for you.
Wow, beautiful. So you've turned your own pain into a platform for healing others, and so you're a holistic practitioner. How do you weave energy work into trauma recovery?
Well, that is my passion, because my journey started, I'd say 2009, where I got very interested and curious about energy work. And I started obviously practicing on myself, and through that, it kind of grew. And we are all energy, everything is energy. And when you understand the connection to, for example, the power of your thoughts, my first book I ever read, The Power of the Mind by Dr. Joseph Mercy. I recommend to anybody needing something to start off with. And it opened my mind. And from then, I started watching various inspirational teachers, Dr. Wayne Dyer, for example, Louise Hay. I'm very much a follower of Caroline Myss, all these inspirational speakers. And I could understand and connect to what they were saying, how the thought mind body is connected, that what we think and what we eat, what we speak, what we say, even as to what we wear, is all connected. The color of the clothes we wear, some days we feel like a dark color, sometimes days more bright colors. It's all to do with our moods, and all that affects energy. For example, if you're in a outside and it's a blue sky, you're much happier and calmer. People have the SAD syndrome that don't have that. So it just proves that energy is really working. And I use it with my clients that come for one-on-one sessions. I do online sessions as well. And it works remotely as well, because energy is everywhere. And it's been very positive in every situation I've used it. I use it every day, and even on my animals, on my family. And I work with the Reiki, I work with crystals, I work with sacred geometry, the sacred symbols as well. And these tools, there are various tools, and breath work especially, using the sound, the healing power of sound and the vibrations, the basic that most people know, is extremely powerful. I have a story where my daughter got some gastro bug, and I had to take her to the emergency one night. And of course, it was very stressful. It was COVID at that time, and I couldn't go in, and I had to leave her there. And I got a migraine from it. And I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm thinking, what can I do? You know, I don't have any medication or water or anything. I'm going to So in my silent space, I did it for 15 minutes. And afterwards, I opened my eyes and the migraine was gone. I was just umming silently in my space, and on the windowsill next to me appeared this beautiful green praying mantis. And I was like 3 floors up from the ground level. And I realized, wow, well, it's a tool we can all use anytime, anywhere. And it worked for me. So I've used that in my women events and my women circles when we gather together, full moon or various times of the year, Women's Day, Lions Gate, and we've gathered and we've ommed 108 times together. And we've had another experience where we were in a sacred ground and we had the shepherd come with his goats, and the one goat came into our area with us because of the sound and could sense the vibration. And it was an amazing experience. When we start trusting and allowing and experiencing different things, we get amazing shifts. And we don't always need to understand it. We can feel it. The body never lies, any energy never lies.
Mm. Wow, that is so powerful. So, as an author and speaker, what has been the most impactful response you've received from someone touched by your story? And I know you've had many, but what's one that sticks out maybe for you?
Mm, yeah. Well, let's see. I was at a women's integrative health event in Dubai last year, May.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was amazing experience with global speakers. We had women, we had a few men as well. We had doctors, we had entrepreneurs from America, a real amazing energy on this room of about maybe 30 people. And I had the one girl, she came up to me. She was from Mexico, teaching with her teacher this Mexican sacred drum and dance. And she came up to me and she was young, about 20 years old at the time. And she says to me, "Oh, may I have one of your books? I'd really like to buy it and read it." And I was sitting doing book signing and autographing at the time. I said, "Yes, sure." I said to her, "Would you like me to write a message in it?" And very gently and timidly, she said, "Yes, please." And I just go with my inspiration of what I feel at that time when I connect to the person. And when she opened the book and she read it, she got tears in her eyes and she said,
Oh, wow.
"Thank you so much. That message is just what I needed to hear." And that is when I realized, well, this is my calling. This is what I'm here for. Spirit, take me wherever I need to be, because people need this inspiration. They need to be able to, as shy as they are, as timid as they are, to reach out to someone, to know they can get the support and get the inspiration they're ready to receive at that time. And she keeps in touch with me. She travels the world. Um, and on Instagram, she's told me, she's given me a review on this chapter and how it's changed her life, how she's gone from being an introvert and going through her traumatic path to now being a confident 22-year-old now. And you see it in her face. She's just a
Mm-hmm.
different person. She's
Yeah.
lit up. And she says she's having healthy relationships now and so much more confident. She's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful young lady. And that is what it's about, is about just giving that little bit of light or love or inspiration or truth to the person who's ready to receive it, to help them on their journey. Because I know I've had a few beautiful souls who've done that on mine and who continue to do that. And we need people like that in our lives to get through these tough times.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me of my last book signing. It was almost everybody, but it was just like three people in particular. They saw the cover, Never Give Up, and they're just like, that's exactly what I need. I said, tell me more about it. That's, and then another lady's like, I know just the person I need for it. It was actually her daughter. She's like, she's going through such a hard time right now. And then when I saw your book from far away, I had to come see it. It's just something was pulling me towards it. So I explained to her and I said, and then she said, could you autograph it for her? I'm buying it. I said, of course. I said, can you write a message for her? I said, of course. So I wrote a really nice message for her daughter, I never met, but I said, wrote what came to my heart at that time in the book for her. I said, I'm here for you. She was actually in another province. I said, if she needs anything at all, tell her to reach out. Sometimes that's all we need, just talk to somebody and know that there is hope, like you said, that light. That's all they ever need sometimes, just that one little spark to get them in the right direction. And then there was another
Absolutely.
young lady that came up too, and she's like, tell me more. She had some kind of injury And she's like, it's like my life's over. I said, no, sweetie, your life's not over just because you have an injury. So I talked to her for quite some time, and she felt so like you could see that relief on her face that there's tools out there, that there's hope out there. So I totally understand when you're sharing that, you connect people right at the time they need it. It's like that divine timing, for that
Yes,
specific
exactly.
person, and it touches you, it touches them, and you feel like fulfilled that you've actually, maybe just maybe helped them enough to get them through that tough day, tough year, or whatever, right? So I love
Yeah.
those moments that you can help.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. They are blissful moments and they feed my soul.
Yeah.
Um, it's said about the gold of our soul. I believe that we all have that gold there. We just have to dig a little deeper sometimes to find it because we've buried it so deep with a lot of life's experiences. But we all have that there, definitely. On my recent book tour in one of the cities, I actually spoke in front of another crowd of about 30 people about the book with the various authors. And the energy was really powerful. And I could see one lady in the audience kind of really listening and getting emotional about it. And and that was it. And as I was leaving and going down out the lift, she was there as the doors opened, and she stood there and spoke to me for about maybe 10 minutes, asking me and crying and sharing with me her story that she had never told anyone, and how I managed to develop healthy relationships and how can she do it, and her struggles, and that was for me, it made the whole purpose of that journey. It's not about selling the books. No, for me, that's great too, but she wasn't ready to buy the book. She just felt that need and connection and was ready to talk about it. And
Mm-hmm.
that lifted her up in the way that she needed. Just hearing me be vulnerable and share my story, and for her having the confidence and opportunity to reach out to me at that time.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing. So tell
Yeah.
me, when you imagine the future of your work, what legacy do you want to leave for women rising from trauma worldwide? Maybe men even, I'm not sure, but if you cater to both. But what legacy do you want to leave?
Yeah, definitely. Legacy. Well, I believe the legacy has started with this co-authoring of this book. Um, but I want to follow on with my full life story because that was just at the beginning in 2024. So I wrote it in 23, the last 6 months of 23. And since then, there's been a lot more that's evolved. So I'm wanting to focus on my life story up until now. That is my aim, to leave the full life story and let women know that we have dysfunctional relationships. And for me, it was my family. It is my family, and how to work through that, because everything in life is a relationship with work, with money, with our family, with ourselves. And when we can understand the dynamics of that and how important it is to first be true to ourselves, to honor ourselves, to commit and be kind, compassionate, gentle to ourselves, and say no, for example. People pleasing is one of the first major issues we need to work through when we've had trauma, and inspire them to know through a program. I'm working on a program now that they can work with me on a 6-month, 6-week program. And also to be able to speak on TEDx and actually go global and travel wherever I can to whatever place is needed, so I can share this message and meet women face to face who are ready to speak like that one lady did. And at the Dubai event as well, there was a lady who traveled from New Zealand there, and she saw me as soon as I walked in at 8:30 in the morning and came running up to me and said to me, "I loved your book. Your story was amazing." So this is what it's about, is leaving those golden nuggets wherever I go. You know, sharing my book, autographing messages, and from there, maybe even a documentary on my life story, because it goes even deeper than what my story in here. My mother knew that I was being abused, how I'm working through that and got through that. My brother, who's always had this unusual connection with my mother and still today. So there's a whole lot of twists and deeper stuff going on. And how does one deal with that and be sane afterwards? How do you come through that? How do we come through these unimaginable, crucial, excruciating, traumatizing, terrifying, destructive experiences and be able to stand in the light and want to leave a legacy? Not
Mhm.
talking about the bad, the wound, but talking from the wisdom, talking
Mhm.
from the purpose, talking from moving forward and how we can thrive and help each other to bring each other up. We rise together.
Exactly. When you help another soul, it definitely doesn't go unnoticed because you know the other person knows, and it just helps all in general, right, for a better uh, world. So that's such a beautiful and powerful message you have there. If you're ever in Canada, stop by, say hi. I'm in Edmonton.
Oh, don't tempt me. I will. I'll keep you up to that, Emma.
And hopefully when if I ever visit Cyprus, you're there at that time and I can
Okay.
meet you there too in person. That
That
would
would
be
be
wonderful.
amazing.
Yeah.
Lovely. I'd love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so the name of the podcast is Rise and Thrive Mornings with Intention. How important do you think it is to set intention first thing in the morning for the rest of the day? What are your thoughts on that?
I believe and I know and I live it. The morning routine is extremely important. It sets the tone, the mode for the day. The intention you have as soon as you wake up, as soon as you come through from your dream state to the physical state again, to say your gratitude. Just look around you and say, wow, I'm breathing. Put your hand on your heart. That's what I do. And then I start with a thank you. Thank you for my husband, for our home, for our pets, and just the basic little things and my health, that I can do the things I love to do, the energy I have to fulfill, and my purpose that I'm here. And to, if you have time, to even do a written journal and just put a few intentions in writing, because the power of writing is very healing and therapeutic, and it puts that intention in the moment because you connected in the there and now and the present moment when you're writing. So the writing and the breathing as well, the gratitude, the writing and the breathing, your some breath, deep breath work, or maybe an chanting some mantra you like, or just singing a prayer or song that you like, something to get you in that zone of joy, of gratitude. And yes, we're not like it every day, but it helps. It helps. I always do my morning walk by the seaside with my dog. And then now in the summer, I'm swimming morning and evening. So I see the sunrise, I see the sunset. Little things like that, walking barefoot on the grass or on the earth, or looking at the trees, listening to the birds, just connecting to your surrounding. Even if you're in an apartment and you have some flowers, just to smell the flowers. Anything that just brings you into that moment of joy, of gratitude is so important.
Yeah. Wow, that's beautifully said and transmitted. So thank you so much, Helena, for being here with us. Thank you very much to our listeners for being with us here again today. And don't forget to subscribe and like the channel so you get also notified when the next episode comes up. Till next time, have a beautiful day. Thank you once again, Helena. So
Thank you
lovely
so
to meet
much.
you.
It's been amazing. Such an honor and privilege. Bye for now.
Bye bye for now, everyone. Take care.